to them in comparison to the amount of risk that they take on, except perhaps the wonderful principled companies of
Well, it's interesting,
agriculture.
like my team are amazing. And I think part of it is because they feel like they own the company, We did a feedback round this week. We did a retrospective day for the year. And in it, every team member had to give feedback to every team member on what they loved about what that person had done for the year and what their developmental edge was. Like, where could they do some work to develop as a person? And we're hippies. But it was amazing because these people feel so bought in that they do, really bring their best feedback to that. They basically all told me I had to take a holiday, which I thought was great. Developmental feedback. Back on the plane. Okay, any other, so tools I think is the only thing we haven't really touched on yet. We've got about 10 minutes left. Do we want to do a quick round of everyone? Like, what tools do you use when you're managing either employees or contractors, and what works and what doesn't? Maybe any also bad things that you've tried and
I've used every tool out there.
every tool?
It seems like there, of course, everyone starts a project management tool
What's
company.
your favorite?
What's it something? So what I found here, so each, whether it's a software management thing, whether it's project management, what we talked about, Asana, Trello, a few other things, they're all based in a particular theory about how you want to manage your business. What I find, none of them, a lot of the easy to go into tools do not scale above a small team size. Like, I can run a project on a Trello board if it's appropriate for that project, or I could run it on Asana, or I could run it on a Google document or so forth. But as you get bigger and bigger as an organization around here, you do need another layer of structure on there. And I've found most mid-scale organizations eventually end up with like Atlassian's Confluence or so forth, with maybe Jira for a tool set, and then you spin off to smaller groups have what they use, but everything kind of filters back into, we'll call it the mothership of project management tool sets. But I think in terms of what you're saying, like here, do I build this big process? Do I think here, when things are fluid, keep a really lightweight system until you actually can look back and say, we've been doing this same process or this thing multiple times, and either it works or it doesn't work or so forth. But if it works, then set that in stone and then find it around there. But don't prematurely kind of plan for a process and structure in anticipation stuff, because it will change around there.
I totally agree, and I think sometimes people think they have to find the perfect tool when actually they just need to communicate better. Sometimes it's just the way you're using the tool rather than the tool itself. One thing that I really love, though, my favorite tool for team management is Slack, and actually building in a lot of integrations that just give you background noise of what's happening, so you don't have to ask about it, but you can see when code has been pushed, you can see when someone's done a Trello ticket or whatever it is, Trello thing. And that background noise is sometimes really useful just to feel like you're in control or know what's happening. It's not.
This is just a little side. A good thing, and this is a reason to maybe contract out, if you can find a vendor that has a consulting firm, they've got a really well managed project management process. It is a great way to educate yourself on how to on a method for doing that. Like, you get to see how someone else who does this day in and day out and actually build a process in there, and then you can pick and choose and take what works from there.
Chip, any favorite tool or least favorite tool?
Just adding to that point, I think it's not so much about, and also your point, it's not so much necessarily about the tool. So we use basically only Slack and Google Drive, like Google Sheets, Google, whatever the word
Drive,
equivalent is. I don't know what it's called. And also Trello sometimes. Trello is more for keeping in touch between the freelancers or between the contractors or between everyone, because we're a distributed team, so I don't know what everyone's working on unless it's in Trello. So that's more for me. And then, just Google Docs, just for doing processes. We don't use anything complicated.
Hi, I'm Graham. I'm a software addict. I've used everything.
Everything.
Absolutely everything. New thing comes, I sign up, and I've gone back to, I was out of control.
So you have so many emails.
Bright shiny thing, that's right. So I'm exactly like you. I'm Slack and Google Drive. I've just gone straight back to Google Drive. I've got a paid account, so you've got a bit more functionality. And what I do within then, if I'm working directly with an individual, we just have a folder. So I don't have to think about the project. I just got to remember who I'm working with, and that helps me get through the clutter. And then I tell people, don't email me, call me up. So I'll answer my phone. Yeah, I've got this emails.
Sorry, I had one to your inbox yesterday.
Sure. On top of it, I also use WhatsApp, for the quick communication. So it's really powerful in terms of if they're working, that's give a screenshot. You can comment and you can trail back.
It's good for Asia as well.
And it's instant. It's not that they're sending email or they're sending ping on the Skype and it's not working for the quick decisions. I guess WhatsApp is powerful.
Done.
Also, the Outlook app on my phone is the best thing ever. I don't know if you guys have used it. It's amazing. It's the one Outlook that is actually good.
Gmail.
So also it hooks into Outlook on the phone, and it's like the best use of AI I've ever seen. It filters by focused inbox and other inbox. I don't know how it knows it, but everything in other I just delete every day, and then everything in focused is like perfect. So I can't even do emails on my computer anymore because
If you're running a sales process, a product called Prosper works. Works. It's got a really nice integration with Inbox or Gmail.
Do you use HubSpot ever? Is it better than HubSpot?
I've just
Don't get me
taken it
started
up.
on HubSpot.
I take it back, not for this conversation.
I have an intimate knowledge with HubSpot. I think it is good for, depends on what type of business, but basically when you have a small number of clients that you are going after and so forth, it's good. They have a lot of good tools on trying to get insight at the top of your funnel around here. It's not very good at managing the back end of your funnel.
But it's good for marketing from the other side.
And their pricing and it's just absurd. But the contracts are stupid. But they're better than most other software in that.
Any other favorite tools or least favorite tools for managing workflow, people, contracting, anything? Mark had his hand up before.
I was just wondering, at what points, I'm a sole founder, and when we've had investors, like the angels love us and stuff, but when you get to somewhere else, they're like, okay, yeah, if you get hit by a bus, your business is done, there goes my money.
Someone's literally said that to me.
And so these are hodgepodge tools and stuff. At what point do you kind of look to try and develop some efficiencies to basically take yourself out of the business, like the traction, EOS stuff or whatever? Have any of you gone through that, or do you foresee that happening, and how so do you do that? Because I'm still in you hodgepodge shit together, and it's like this big duct taped ball of whatever. But if you're going to go through the next Series A and stuff like that too, those are the questions I need to answer as well too along that way. So I'm just curious about
So I'm actively working on that. I have a business coach, so we meet every month, and that's the goal every month, is to get together and advance the business forward. So I have a bunch of KPIs and accountability. In that month, as most businesses are growing, there's more and more stuff coming. So when we get to meet, she goes, "Oh my God," And so this month I had to hire a PA 6 weeks ago, and that was one of my KPIs, to take stuff off. But then as we go, the documenting, just like Nikki was saying, like building up a how we do it here manual. So they're kind of out of my mind, and it's on there. And as we go, we keep piling into it. So the PA comes and helps me do that. And then a bunch of work of the strategy, working around, okay, so for this business to be at this scale, it's going to need this amount of resources, this amount of people, and who are they? And then how much revenue do we need to generate for that to be true? And what would those people do? But also, I think, from your point of view, we did a lot of work on what my skill sets are and where I should be doing the business. And when I'm not playing those skill sets, then somebody else should be doing that.
So your decision around when you find someone else, it's what's your skill sets versus what?
Yeah, so I think most of us, my business coach calls it rainmaking. So that's going out, bringing business in the door. It's not wrapping up T-shirts or sending out emails. It's about getting out and meeting clients wherever that has to be. And that's my role. And so as soon as I'm not doing that, that means there should be somebody else doing that. And there's plenty of times that we're going, well, how am I going to afford that? But if you don't put those plans, well, then you never actually get to that next stage, because there's always going to be more emails or more whatever. And
I mean, with regards to timing, I would say like we're all working under the assumption or hope that our businesses are going to scale and be big, right? So then working backwards, you kind of have to operate your business as if it is going to be big, right? And if it's going to be big, and if it's going to be big when you want it to be big, or at any form of scale, then I think it really helps to have had the processes done much sooner rather than later.
Yeah, but you've got to find time to do it. That's the other thing. You're busy trying to run the business and find time to get that structure going.
But if you do it right, you shouldn't have to do that process again.
No.
One thing that we do as a company in our retrospectives is every year we go through our job descriptions as a group, and we decide what people shouldn't be doing and should be doing. So like if there's something in my job description, my team is like, you shouldn't be doing that anymore, they'll take it out, and then we have to figure out if we need to hire someone new or if it can go to someone else in the team. And it's always good to just get that check-in on the skills and what you're good at and what you're not. And
And make sure you're accountable to yourself. So as you kind of go, well, I actually don't do that. So then you go, well, I need to find somebody to do that, and so they've got to pay for that.
Yeah, money.
Or interns. The other great thing, one thing I've done a lot of.
Do you like interns?
They're university interns, so it's part of their degree. So they come in and work with me. So I've just worked with 4 interns in Sydney, and they work with me the whole year on a particular project.
Yeah.
And so they were in the business, outside the business. That was great, and we got a lot of learnings from that, and they helped with some stuff.
Yeah.
I think absolutely, like I unless it's valuable for their university degree, I pay them. I don't kind of believe in just getting free labour.
Yeah.
But if there's a skill share, so I'm about to work with an ambassador to help promote my business. Someone who's a different demographic, and it's not me talking all the time. And I'm swapping business acumen for her time. So she's helping me out in the business, but then she's trying to scale her business, so I get to give her some tips on my experience. So I think that the barter system's always a good thing to do if you can. Yeah.
I've got to head off actually.
Bye. Thanks, Adam.
Cool.
We might just do a quick checkout round and see if anyone had any final thoughts or questions. Do you want to quickly just start by any final thoughts you want to leave in the circle about upskilling versus hiring?
No, I think I've said everything. Everything that's in my noggin.
Awesome. Like it. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. Thanks for organising.
I didn't organize, Mark did. So Mark's next. Anything you want to leave in the circle or final thoughts?
I'm fine.
Nothing? No learnings?
Does somebody have an afterthought?
Anyone want to check out right now?
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say,
there's like a golden rule for outsourcing.
I mean, I was going to say with your question or original there, like I think it has to do with a lot of like the nature and scale of your business. Like, if you only got 20 people working in a company, like you can have a process in place. If it's a service industry, it might make sense. If you're a venture or growth business, that's a tiny number of people, and you're probably still scrambling around.
Yeah.
Once you're on that route where like we have demonstrated traction, this is how we're growing, we're bringing in money in. I mean, like any investor that at an early stage comes in and says, well, if you disappear, the money's gone, probably should not be investing in venture at that point in time.
Yeah.
Like that is the nature of most early stage businesses. But if you're starting to get up to like 50 people or so forth around here, well, now you really actually are at the point that you can specialize, you can build structure, you're going to have a management layer and so forth. And my personal view is, basically let the pain drag you into building that structure.
It hurts so much.
When you cannot bear it anymore, that's when you bring it in around there. And it ain't pleasurable in any sorts of means around here, but it makes sure you're not, prematurely spending resources.
Yeah.
I think that's mic drop and leave. Let the pain drag you.
Let the pain
drag you in.
Let the pain. I said guide, drag you in. Okay. So we'll keep on going. Any final thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
I want to add on, how we start outsourcing. So there are certain ground rules that you have to put forward whenever you start talking to any new developer. And I understand when you are, hiring to Upwork, the one guy is talking initially, and then he'll assign someone else to work on that project. So my experience is that always talk to the guy who's going to work on the project, even though that that project manager is talking all the things. But always talk to the guy who's going to work on or code the project, and then keep talking with him in terms of what should be done, because there's always a filtration. So you say 100% to that guy, the manager will filter it out and then give 80% download to that person, and then he'll do 70% of the work. And then when you see the things is not exactly what you wanted. So having a project manager is good for maintaining deadline, deliverables in like milestones. But as far as actual work is concerned, always talk to the guy who is going to work and put the ground rules. Like every day you have to push the code in the big bucket. Not that once the task is done, so whatever work he's doing, just push every day. So I guess one thing is that have the ground rules up and running, and then talk to the guy who's going to work.
I'd add, in my experience, having a buy-in. So we talked about having your employees who love what you do, but you're outsourcing your contractors. So with our manufacturers around the world, there was a win-win for the relationship. So if I was able to create these products and go forward, that opened up a whole revenue stream for them. So what I've found is if you can create these outsourced partnerships, so there's more than just a financial exchange. There's a much greater moving forward, and that's always, that's a challenge in certain parts of the world who are only just looking for single jobs. But if you find the right people, then you've got both of you trying to push forward in the project, as opposed to somebody doing a project and you paying them and it's done.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, manufacturers, if they can see where there's a much bigger opportunity for them in the future, around there, you're going to get the better team, better output, better communication, hands down.
Yeah. Check out, question, comment, concern. Hey.
I'd definitely add to that. Hey, so I've never started a startup, so from that side of things, I'm not that good at that. But from an employee perspective, I used to work for a startup, and I left a job which was half the pay, and they gave me options into the business, and it was definitely the buy-in from that. And I never cared about when I was working at Optus and Telstra, I never gave a crap about how they were progressing as a company. But trust me, I was checking on that business, because there was personal.
Show me the money.
Yeah, exactly. So the journey itself was a very personal one for me. So I think it becomes like a whatever suits your model there. But from an employee that had been there, it definitely did work for me. Like I left a good job to do that. So yeah.
Thank you. Nothing?
Oh, good.
Alf?
I was just interested in if you had any, not so much tools, but more management techniques or different kinds of ways of managing projects. Like you mentioned, go and work for a company that does it really well and learn from them. Like, are there any things that you're using, like Scrum methodology or any other kind of management techniques that actually work? Or like, what do you do as a team once you have scaled, or even like during that process, are there things that you do in your teams that are unique to you that maybe could help us if we implemented some of the same things to maintain, whether it's that culture or that buy-in, or whether it's just like getting the job done and like being accountable? Do you have anything to share?
Management tips.
Well, we've got an interesting company because we're how do I explain this to make it easy? Basically, the business is not just set up to make revenue. At the end of the day, the business is set up to have more benefit back to society, so back to people and planet.
Yeah.
There's a purpose about our business, and hopefully in 2018, Pledge Me will join the B Corporation certification. So there's within that there's a culture and foundation within our business already. So there's already a buy-in. So just like the people who work with us are already bought into what we're trying to do. But that also gives us a framework. There's certain ways we behave ethically, morally, sustainably, that set the business processes are wrapped around that. So whilst we're still running a business that manufactures stuff and sells stuff, there's a real rigid way we do that as a business and how we portray ourselves. So it allows us to set our tone and voice to our manufacturers and our customers, and that becomes really clear. It also aligns us with other companies who are like-minded like us, and so that allows us to communicate the business. So the people we end up working with are like-minded.
Yeah.
So then we don't have to have this, are they going to do us over in this contract or what? It doesn't happen because we're all the same kind of businesses. It just sets that flow. Yeah.
Okay. One thing that we do, and it's based on Agile methodology, is retrospectives.
Yeah.
So we both do retrospectives on a project basis, but also on an annual basis. So as a team, we look back and we do good, bad, change. What was good about the year? What was bad? What are we going to change? And then we, from that, figure out themes of things that we need to focus on for the next year. So that's a really good bit of just agile,
Yeah.
checking in on what's working, what's not. Time, what time?
I'll just say one thing I do. I run like a daily process where I do like end of day review, and then I track like what I'm actually spending my time on and assign a dollar value to that.
She's the queen of metrics. I
Oh
feel
my
like
God.
I've seen her spreadsheets.
It's
So,
good.
like-
It's good and a bit torturous, I think.
but what's quite interesting is, as an entrepreneur, a lot of the stuff you're working on, maybe the payoff doesn't come until kind of down the road. So it's like how you actually assess if what you're doing is a good use of your time. So it's like $10 an hour task, which is like, you know, like if you're packing t-shirts or just stuff you could assign minimum wage, customer service type stuff. And then I have like $50 an hour, which is like operational things like writing code, but you have to be skilled to do it. $250 an hour, which is like planning or higher level stuff, and then $1,000 an hour, which would be like working on bigger deals or new product lines, or like something that's gonna, you know, a higher level project that's like important work. And then I'll set a daily target of like I want to get $1,000 a day, which for me is based on like my revenue target for 3 months divided by the number of days I'm working. And so anyway, so what I end up happening is at the end of the day, it's like it becomes very tangible if I see, oh, okay, I've just spent like 5 hours on this $10 an hour task, or even 5 hours on a $50 an hour task is, you know, $250. It's nowhere near like what I need to be getting at this stage of the business. And every 3 months I'll up my how much I want to be like earning a day. So you have to like get rid of those lower level things that you're doing, and you like literally can't hit these targets. Anyway, so that's one thing I do, and the other thing is like every day I'll do a review and kind of write like what are the repetitive stuff that I did today, like and you notice like the same things coming up every day. It makes you really aware of like where you're wasting your time. So,
I'll do what I call my change log of any project I'm working on, which is sometimes it's a daily, sometimes a couple daily things, where it's just like 2 or 3 lines of what was accomplished either on that day, maybe what were the metrics around there. It doesn't have the same form every day. It's tailored to what it is appropriate for the project, but then you have a list of things that you can look back at that you wrote when you were actually in the mind frame around there, and you'll extract patterns from that.
like a reflection almost on the task.
Yeah, and I mean it's 3 or 4 things around there. We sold this many such and such units, and just make it easy to have that high level view when you need to.
Yeah, so you don't forget later on.
Yeah.
I think that's us on time. Thank you everyone for coming along. Sorry we started a little bit late. I think we messed with everything by changing the format of the room. Horrible person. But what we'll do is we will share contact information if anyone has any further questions, as well as a picture of this if it's at all useful, as well as, is this going to be a thing?
Some works and be live.
It'll be a thing.
Yeah.
It'll be there.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, so we'll share that too, so people can, if you want to share it with your friends, reference back to it. Yeah, so thank you so much for coming and taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeez.